Next up, we have Anja Simon, CTO for LNI 4.0. And she's going to tell us about the AAS use cases in Germany. That is really interesting topic. And now it's time.
My name is Anja Simon. As Seung Ho just even mentioned, I'm the CTO for LNI 4.0. LNI stands for Labs Network for Industry 4.0. What I have prepared today for you is an overview of some use cases which we run in Germany. That is a really good mix of use cases and projects for the implementation of AAS, and therefore first I want to give you a very, very short introduction of LNI 4.0. What is LNI? What is the main intention of LNI? Then I want to give you an overview of the project AAS Networked, where the general concept of the AAS has been validated, and where a network of different AAS demonstrators is building up. And here you are warm invited to join that network. I will give you an overview of the project BaSys. The intention of this project is to develop, is to develop a middleware for the implementation of the AAS with a lot of components you have already heard today in previous presentations. Then I will give you an overview of the project collaboration condition monitoring, which is running an AI real lab of a SmartFactoryOWL. After that, I will come to our own project, an LNI project, where we are going to implement an asset administration shell in a brownfield. And here we have collected first experiences in a navigation guide, collected and summarized that in a navigation guide. And also we will present you the demonstrator, which we want to show at the Hanover Fair in June of this calendar year. Last but not least, I will give you a very short outlook and conclusion of my presentation. Okay, so then I will start with a very short introduction of LNI. LNI was founded in 2015 from the platform Industrie 4.0. And the intention of LNI is to be a neutral and pre-competitive public and non-profit test track for use cases which have been and which will be developed in the course of Industry 4.0. Our intention is to make that use cases available for the businesses, for the companies, and transfer a lot of knowledge regarding the upcoming technologies, regarding the use cases, the application of the use cases in your companies to the small and medium companies. We are working very strong together with our colleagues from the Standardization Council, Industry 4.0, as well with the other associations like the IDTE. You have heard it before from Mike Billman, and also the other national and international associations in Germany and in the world. Please keep in mind, LNI is not a standardization association. We are a test track to test upcoming use cases, upcoming scenarios for the Industry 4.0. LNI 4.0 is orienting at the Vision 2030 for Industry 4.0, and Stöcke Pukal mentioned this vision already in his greeting speech. And following up of these three main pillars like interoperability, autonomy, and sustainability, LNI has broken down some action fields for own purposes, for own development, and for own content. Starting on the left-hand side, for sure, machine interoperability is the basis and the network of all our new upcoming Industry 4.0 scenarios. We are talking a lot today about machine interoperability using the AAS. Next one would be the human integration, because also human play a very important and major role in the upcoming Industry 4.0 scenarios. We have to handle this data management and analytics across all the upcoming technologies. The circular economy is an upcoming topic, which is now very much or more valid than in the past in regards to how to save this world, how to save resources, make them available in the circular economy, and how could also an asset administration shell could support that. And last but not least, the upcoming digital business models play a big role for the future situation and future participation in a digitized world. And therefore, all these 5 action fields are our own, and we try to drive and to provide and to offer test tracks for that. We try to provide some example scenarios for that, and warm invite our communities to join these test labs. We have a great network in Germany. This slide might be more interesting for our German participants, which we have hopefully in that call here. We have a lot of different labs for different technologies and with different purposes in our network. Under column R, you can find a lot of own customer experience centers, own labs from companies, which providing a neutral presentation of technologies and products without to be in sales event. On column B, we have a lot of different academia labs where new technologies have been and will be developed and will be mapped and mirrored to our companies, how the new technologies can be applied to our companies. And last but not least, we also serve some own test beds within LNI. And as you can find here on the very first, the asset administration shell testbed is a very important one because that is driving our mission interoperability. On the next slide, I will give you an impression of our international connections and corporations, because mainly LNI is the target region of LNI would be Germany, but you can imagine all over the world the different questions, the different tasks in regards to Industry 4.0, how to implement this and how to run into a digitized world are always the same. The questions where needs to be answered always the same. The experts working on the same topics, on the same details, and therefore it's more than worth to connect all the networks together, to connect all the different experts together, and exchange experiences and leverage the results of the tests. So we have a very strong network in Germany themselves with a lot of comparable LNIs in the Netherlands, in Italy, in Romania, and so on. But we have also a great network with the main player and key players for digitalization in the world. And that means we have a good network to US, but also to our Asian colleagues and also to our Indian and Australian colleagues. And for instance, with our US colleagues, we're talking about the AAS and the machine profiles. Very interesting to see the approach of the US. We talk with our Chinese colleagues about TSN, time-sensitive networking, the timestamp of shop floors, which is crucial to provide in a digitized world and connected world. We talk with our Japan colleagues about edge management and edge ecosystems. We talk with Australia also about the asset administration shell and machine profiles, and a very, very big partner for the asset administration shell, and a very mature partner, so to say, for the asset administration shell are our Korean colleagues, because the Korean colleagues really going to implement test demonstrators. They have presented that in the morning from one Zeog from Nestfield. You have seen some demonstrators for the AAS, and now we are running in the next step. We are coming to a next level of cooperation where we want to connect also the demonstrator across the world in an international network. And the intention of all that would be to exchange test experiences, to exchange trainings, what also Mike Billman mentioned before, and to make a knowledge transfer about this upcoming technologies for Industry 4.0, as the AAS is a main important part of that. Okay, that was a very short introduction of LNI. You know, if you have some questions, you can contact me. You will get my contact information together with that presentation here. Now I will come to the first project I want to present you, the AAS network. The intention of this project was to break down and specify the general concept, the theoretical concept of the AAS to a lab, in a lab environment, and also to real demonstrators, break this concept down. And in the course of this concept, there have been identified and developed 3 types of the AAS. Also, one Georg mentioned that beforehand. We have a very first type that is also called passive AAS. It's like a file for exchange with other shop floors, with other partners in the value chain. And the second type is the reactive AAS. Here the AAS and the shop floor will be connected via APIs to subordinary information models. As you can see here, you can reuse the installation from the type 1, also in the type 2, and have to add some more installations, components for the AAS for the type 2. And in the type 3, we come to a level where the shop floors are building up some digital business models where they are going to be active. Therefore, this asset administration shell is called active. And the intention of this type 3 is to drive an active interaction between different shop floors, different asset administration cells in regards to a business model where tendering, where allocation of production steps and so on can be arranged. And therefore, on top of the components which you need for type 1 and type 2, you need in type 3 and so-called AAS agent for the interaction and dialogue of the different AAS. The good thing is you can start with the very first type, with the type number 1, and you can gradually update from one type to the other your AAS without any new installations you need here. Despite of this additional components you need for the next level of the type of the AAS. And that is a very good construct which also supports small medium companies and also some other installations around the AAS. And therefore first you need to think about, okay, how to integrate this AAS in your shop floor, in your company. Another task of this project, AAS network, was to connect demonstrators together, different demonstrators, first in Germany, to connect the different demonstrators and to play around what is needed for this connection of the demonstrators, also what is needed to exchange different AAS from the demonstrators, and that is up and running. It's a good situation, it's a proven situation, and therefore the next stop or the next step would be to bring in some content in that network. That means if we want to realize in future digitized digital business model where the different shop floors can manage and allocate different production steps between each other and can make a tendering, might it regarding the capacity of another shop floor, might it regarding a special functionality which is required from a product, or might it be also in in negotiation or tendering in regards of prices. This is also the next step in this project AAS Connected, where this negotiation between and tendering between the different shop floors, the different AAS has been established. For that, there was a development of an Industrie 4.0 language required. And currently the status is that this will run through the different demonstrators and first experiences are collected with that. And they are on the way to widen up their network with the different capacities, with the different functionalities they want to connect here. And that brings me to the next and last slide for this project. You have seen this slide also already from von Seok. The next step would be to extend our network of different demonstrators from Germany to an international network. And the very first address for us would be the Korean demonstrators, because the Korean demonstrators are very mature. They are up and running. They have a lot of experiences, and therefore it's good to have such a mature demonstrator to connect that to our German network of demonstrator. And that would be the next step to a connected manufacturing shop floor across the world, and build up a basis for upcoming digital business models where different production steps could be tendered and could be managed between the different shop floors on an international basis. And we are very much appreciate that the Korean colleagues from Westfield will join our network here, and we start with that within the next week. Okay, that was really a very short snippet about that AAS network project. If you have some more questions, Professor Christian Dietrich would appreciate to get your questions and to drive that network furthermore. Coming to the next project, that is the project BaSys, which the intention of this project was to identify first and then to provide different components which are needed on a regular and standardized basis for the implementation of an ANS. You could imagine that you always run the same questions: what is needed to implement an AAS, where to get the different components, the different pieces and parts for that. And therefore the project BaSys concentrated first how to develop a middleware between your existing infrastructure and existing applications in your existing shop floor, and how to connect this to an AAS type of what we have seen before, and how to connect that to a type of the AAS and to realize an AAS. And this middleware is really concentrating on this very generic architecture you can find on the right-hand side here. And following this very generic system architecture, there have been developed and there have been produced different components, which some of them already have been implemented in the IDTA suite, where you also can download some of the components which have been already released there. Okay, and it's worth to look at this because a lot of questions and a lot of development you don't need to do from scratch onwards. You can use some of these components here of this, I call it middleware suite. The name is Eclipse BaSys. You can use this components, but don't have to use all the components. It's belonging to your individual situation of your individual AAS implementation, what is needed from your point of view, what is needed to implement an AAS in your individual situation. And the colleagues here are constantly working on the different components, constantly developing next components or developing the existing components to a next level, and they are very much interested in to get your feedback about your real installations in your demonstrators. And this project is also very connected to the IDTA colleagues, and therefore you don't run into different directions here. We are all connected with each other for that. Okay, that was a project BaSys, and if you have some more detailed questions, very much detailed technical questions, and how to get these components and so on, Mr. Thomas Kuhn would appreciate to get your questions here. And you can also find in these links below some more information. Okay, coming to the next project, I have to look at my time. I have to speed up a little bit. The next project, it's regarding the data management in an AAS environment and the data management in regards to collaborative condition monitoring. And this project runs in a real lab of the SmartFactoryOWL. You don't need to learn this word because OWL is a region in Germany. And therefore, if you keep in mind that is a real AI, real lab of a smart factory, and that would be enough. And collaboration condition monitoring was the use case here. Based on an existing AAS implementation, the question or the main target of this project was to answer the question how collaborative condition monitoring could create and can create some value added in a cross-company cooperation. In a situation where companies connected together via an AAS and collaboration, condition monitoring and data management behind of that could create some additional benefits and crucial benefits which would not be able to create it without an AAS installation. And what they used for that, they have multilateral data sharing. They have to share and form for time series. Furthermore, they are based on the exchange, cloud exchange basis from Gaia-X. They are using Gaia-X Federation services. That was very much helpful to get connected via the cloud environment with this Gaia-X Federation services. They're also using not only the connection from Gaia-X, also they use the Gaia-X identity and trust services from Gaia-X. That was also a major and crucial and critical topic which needs to be considered in this project setup. And also the usability of data, the content, the usability of data, and how to discover the data, how to manage the data, and how to use the data in the different companies. For that, they have also used some services from Gaia-X catalog. And the results of that project are summarized in very short words. You can see it here at this slide. The AAS was an enabler for the cross-manufacturing data exchange, the data exchange between different cross-manufacturers, and the AAS reduced the data engineering efforts on a very high degree. That means you don't need to think about each and every data engineering. A lot of different tasks and tools which have to be run in the data exchange are covered by the AAS, and based on the Gaia-X Federation services, there was really a trusted data space for this Industry 4.0 given. If you have some questions regarding that project, then Mr. Michael Jochem would be happy to get your questions here. You can find here some more information of that project. You can imagine that is only an overview, but I can give you in this short minutes here. And if you have some more detailed questions, then please contact Mr. Jochem or look in the links of this slide here. Okay, last but not least, I will come to an LNI own demonstrator. where the intention of this project was to bring and implement an AAS in an existing brownfield, in an existing shop floor. And we started from the standpoint or from the view of point of the existing shop floors, and we have a lot of good managers from small and medium companies in our circle here. And the actual and well-known structure of existing companies are like this. You can find on the left-hand side. We have allocated our different assets to the different levels with different tasks of the levels, what needs to be managed at which level here, and coming from the field level up to the over the control level, management level, and the enterprise level, but also not forget the products, please, which are the outcome of the companies, where the companies earn their money with, and also the products have some requirements for the AAS. So, and now how to implement an AAS in such a complex structure of a company, because the AAS presents not only the application of the machines and devices in the field level, they really presents also shop floors. They are going to present products. They going to present also some tools in the shop floors, as well brain and software assets. And there are a lot of other things which an AAS can present. And the question would be how to bring this AAS in this complex structure of the company. And therefore, the AAS will touch all levels of your company, not only one. The shop floor, the control center, will touch all the levels of your company. And therefore, first, you need to answer the question why you want to integrate an asset administration shell. What is the target? What is the scenario which your company will prefer to integrate an AAS? And which role will your company play in the future with the AAS? And then the next question would be what, how is a very valid approach to integrate this AAS in your existing brownfield, in your existing company, in your existing shop floor, without destroying all the things which are already running. And the next step after that approach would be, the next question would be what needs to be done to implement the AAS at each and every level here in a very proper way. And this is what we are running in our project in LNI. You might have seen that interesting picture here. I will not run through each and every topic here. You can see at the slide, it's a picture. This is our shop floor. It's in demo center. It's in shop floor. In the end, there will come up this nice pants. Looks a little bit simple, but the shop floor consists of very different machines from very different providers on a very different year of construction with a very different degree of maturity. That means we have some very simple analog machines there. We have some smart machines there where already some sensors and connectors have been implemented, and we have some intelligent sensors here, machines here. And that means that is a very, very similar and very presentable, comparable situation you will find at each and every corner in your businesses, that you have a wide mix of different machines where this asset administration shell should be served as connector on top of that. And therefore, it is really very interesting how to run this asset administration shell implementation project. What is the first step? What will be followed? What is the major important step? And which question we have to answer here? And we decided to run 6 application scenarios. First one would be to bring all the machines on a level that they can be connected. Also the analog machines, without any connection, it's not possible to have a networked shop floor. Then to think about in the second step about the communication, which is the best one for the shop floor and the machines here. Third one would be to think about the requirements from a product, and might it be this nice pen, could also be a gas turbine, if you think very big, could also be a gas turbine, and which requirements from this specific product will be done to the shop floor. Next one would be, of course, we are very much looking forward to be a connected part of the project AAS Connected, what I have presented beforehand. Then we think about which additional information and benefits can an AAS bring to a control center of such a shop floor. Are there any benefits? Are there any additional functionalities, and how this additional functionalities can be used in a control center? And last but not least, we want also to run in tendering in very first and simple digital business model, the tendering of this nice graver, which you can find here at this pen. And yeah, we are in the course of this project here, and we have a lot of different managers of small and medium companies in our project here, and they ask always the same question: Anja, what is needed? Can you please summarize a navigation guide for us? What is needed in which level, in which step to implement the AAS on our entire company? And you can find here on the right-hand side a navigation guide for that, starting with this question why and what, followed up to decide which type of AAS you want to integrate. Then look at the existing systems as is situation in your shop floor. Yeah, present all the tools which are required to touch by the AAS. Then look at the assets, the machines and the assets you want to include in the asset administration shell implementation. Then what's about the existing network and what could be a next step for a network in your existing brownfield or shop floor, which requirements coming from the product to your implementation in your shop floor, then to break down and bring in which specific components you need for the implementation in your specific brownfield for the specific implementation. And then after that, think about how a networking between your shop floor with other shop floors could be realized. And last but not least, that is a very commercial question: what needs to be done by yourself and what can be bought from speeds which are already available for components for the AAS? Also the make or buy question: what is really already available? And you might remember on the presentation of Mr. Park, he has told a lot about ecosystems, a lot about different platforms, and that is in regards to that to make a make or buy decision. Okay, there are a lot of different detailed questions behind this main questions here, and if you are interested in, then please contact us. It would be too much for today to run all through these detailed questions here. The last topic I want to point out, and also one CEO has mentioned, that we will present this tendering of this graver of this on this pen on the Hanover Fair in June of this calendar year. And the tendering between two lasers. One laser will stand at the German booth, which is able to provide some Latin letters here. And one laser would be placed at the Korean booth, which would be able to provide some Korean letters at the pen. And this is what we want to present at the Hanover Fair. And you are warmly invited to visit us. We are both the Korean and the German booths are in hall number 8. And you are warm invited to visit us at the Hanover Fair. Might it be in person or might it be also online? Okay. So if you have some further questions about this AAS in Brownfield, you can contact me and also my counterpart in Hanover, that is Dr. Michael Rehe. and we would be happy to get your questions and your experiences for the installation of an AAS in Brownfield. Now I come to my last topic, outlook and conclusion. And if you look backwards through all these projects, and especially also through the project how to implement an AAS in a Brownfield, you might recognize that the AAS is not another additional tool which you are going to implement. It presents complete new entry point into the new digitized world, into the future of the Industry 4.0. And therefore, you need to ask the question what you want to leverage with that AAS, why you are going to implement that AAS in your company. After that, how could be a very good and proper approach for the implementation of in your company. And last but not least, what are the details and the crucial topics you need to clarify for your specific Brownfield, that the AAS will fit the best with your company. And therefore, you are warmly invited to become a part of our AAS network. Contact us all. Might it be Mike Billman from the IDTA, might it be our Korean colleagues, Seung Ho, they have a strong network about the AAS, might it be also Jens Geiko, which will follow with the standardization lecture for the AAS, or might it be myself with the test track, where we are going to offer a lot of tests and test labs for the AAS. And therefore, thank you very much. Now I have done my presentation, and you will find my contact information at the slide here.